about Dr. Umar Johnson allegedly being arrested, all because he been scamming and scheming for the past 20 years. He been working on building the school, but he acquired millions, and the school's still not up and running.
According to IRS Form 990, the filings reveal disturbing financial irregularities, with Jermaine. That's how he files it. He doesn't file it under Dr. Umar. It's Jermaine.
Bank told me to enter my 16-digit card number. I did that. They told me they had no record of my account.
The feds just dropped a bomb on Dr. Umar's empire with a fresh stack of federal charges that could have him staring at decades behind bars. We're talking RICO, tax fraud, wire fraud, the kind of charges that flip a man's life upside down in a heartbeat. And here's the kicker. Prosecutors claim they got hard receipts tying directly back to the donations he collected under the promise of building that long-hyped school. Right now, Dr. Umar is reportedly scrambling because this isn't one of those situations where fiery speeches or slick charisma can talk him out of trouble. The internet is lit up with one burning question. Is Dr. Umar really a con man who scammed the community, or is he being lined up as a pawn in a much bigger takedown? But before we break down the charges one by one, we need to rewind to the exact moment reality hit him, because that scene alone was pure chaos.
Dr. Umar is not a real person that anybody should be taking any advice from. I hope that we all understand that, but it seems like some folks are...
But before surrendering, Umar allegedly tried to control the narrative behind scenes. He reportedly told his closest circle that everything needed to stay silent. No cameras, no mugshots, no press releases, nothing that could expose him publicly. The plan was to keep the world in the dark, hoping it would all fade away. But the fear was obvious. If people saw him in cuffs, that carefully polished image of a community leader could shatter in seconds. What Umar didn't see coming, though, was the feds firing back with bombshell documents of their own. And these weren't just routine papers. These were files that could stain his name forever. Just as he tried to bury his arrest and RICO case, boom, Tasha K jumped in with her trademark fire. She ripped into Umar's empire in a viral YouTube breakdown and left no stone unturned. She came with receipts about his so-called charity, and what she exposed was nothing short of explosive. Tasha peeled back the layers on his long-promised school, and here's why that detail matters. The FBI indictment lists those missing school donations as the core evidence for both fraud and racketeering. This wasn't gossip. She pulled out figures, facts...
Access to no money right now, because my personal account contains all of my money. I only send it to Apple Pay and PayPal as necessary. So the Prince of Pan-Africanism, for the first time in my life, is without any digital currency. So for my loyal supporters out there, if you can spare a few dollars so I can take care of Queen Mother Ifatunde and myself until my bank account is frozen or canceled so I can get my money back and open up a new account, please hit my Apple Pay or hit my PayPal.
And names that made it impossible to dismiss. According to a breakdown, Umar had been skimming off donations to fund his personal lifestyle while dodging accountability at every turn. She even claimed he refused to keep proper donation records so he could avoid taxes, and that's exactly why the feds swooped in. As she put it, the paper trail screams louder than any of his fiery speeches. And the picture it paints? Brutal. For years, Dr. Umar has been pulling in donations for the so-called school, and here's the key detail. He didn't put in a single dime of his own. Every penny has come straight from the public's pockets. And despite endless hype, he's never been transparent about how much money was raised or where it actually went. Instead, he jumps on camera demanding that African Americans pull their kids from public schools and funnel their hard-earned cash into his dream. But according to Tasha's receipts, that dream looks less like a vision and more like a money pit with no bottom. When it comes to the school project, plenty of people have flat-out called it what it appears to be, a grift. Even the name of the school raised eyebrows from the start. Umar has always claimed he's a direct descendant of Frederick Douglass, but here's the twist, he's never once proven it. The real Douglass family has never acknowledged him as bloodline, and that shaky claim alone had critics side-eyeing his project from day one. To them, the whole operation screamed red flags. Still, not everyone saw it that way. Supporters who believed in Umar's vision and wanted a brighter future for their children poured their hard-earned money into the project. Yet after years of endless promises, the school's doors have never opened. Every time an opening date gets close, some sudden obstacle magically appears.
Africanism, brothers and sisters, I'm back again. While I was on the live, the children had snuck into the school, which means they knew the door was unlocked. Listen to me, brothers and sisters. For children to know that a door is open, and I was only away from the school for 30 days.
Maybe it's bad luck, or maybe, as critics now argue, it's Umar himself inventing excuses to stall for more time. This last delay wasn't just suspicious. Prosecutors are now using it as direct evidence that Umar staged setbacks to cover up missing donations. In June, he claimed the school was vandalized, with cultural artifacts and supplies destroyed. Sounds serious, right? But here's the catch. The building itself was untouched. Structurally, nothing stopped him from opening. The so-called damage just looked convenient enough to buy him another delay. To push the story harder, Umar even filmed himself interrogating a group of kids on camera, painting them as a culprit behind the vandalism. The problem? He never got consent from their parents, sparking outrage on a whole new level. Police didn't uncover anything solid either, leaving only Umar's shaky video clip as proof. And let's be real, that footage didn't show destruction anywhere near bad enough to shut down an entire school opening for another year.
IRS Form 990. The filings reveal disturbing financial irregularities, okay, with Jermaine. That's how he files it. He doesn't file it under Dr. Umar. It's Jermaine, okay? Now, the nonprofit shows assets of $634,436 as of 2024. This is what he's saying that he raised. This is what he reported.
Something about it just didn't add up, and the internet wasted no time tearing the story apart. One viral comment summed up the mood perfectly. Where's the proof of this so-called vandalism? Were you insured? Why haven't you shown one clear photo of the damage? Or is the real vandalism you and this entire project? Another chimed in with pure sarcasm. We all know he's out there begging for donations in that car without a haircut every other day, parked right outside the row house in Philly he actually lives in. The internet was brutal, and people were demanding answers. According to IRS filings, Umar's numbers didn't add up. Official records listed just $321,048 in contributions over 5 years, but evidence suggested he raised way more through back channels. That made his excuse about frozen accounts sound even shadier, especially to folks who know how the banking system works. The crowd wasn't buying it, and skepticism spread like wildfire across social media. Then, only weeks later, the truth behind the mysterious vandalism and endless school delays finally surfaced. And this time, Umar couldn't talk his way out of it. Reports revealed the real issue had nothing to do with damaged bookshelves or broken supplies. It was unpaid bills. Umar had been skipping vacant property fees and utility payments for months, letting the debt pile up until the property itself was in jeopardy. Insiders exposed that the school building was actually on the verge of being auctioned off. By August 25, 2025, if Umar didn't pay up, the so-called future school will be gone forever. When the story broke, Umar jumped into his usual defense mode, claiming the fees were just discriminatory tactics to shut him down. Then, in true Umar fashion, he flipped the script, begging supporters for fresh donations under the guise of protecting the dream. But according to Tasha K., it was never about keeping the school alive. It was about buying time and dodging prison. And if you thought her first batch of receipts was damaging, the next revelation would push the entire scandal into a whole new level of ugly. That's because leaked federal documents hit the web, and they didn't just expose Umar's school hustle, they dragged his entire PayPal grind into the spotlight. The report spelled it out clearly. Umar allegedly pulled in more than $1.5 million through GoFundMe and PayPal campaigns tied to various charity causes. The school was only one slice of the pie. He's been pitching different community uplift projects for years, promising to change lives. But here's the ugly part. Not one of those campaigns has produced a single tangible result anyone can point to. The money poured in heavy, but the outcomes were practically invisible. And just like clockwork, every time critics press him for receipts, Umar would jump online with another fiery rant. His storyline never changes. The system is plotting to destroy him. He's a victim of witch hunt, and his followers must resist the tricks of the enemy. For years, that playbook worked, until people started asking questions he couldn't answer. The pressure hit another level when Charleston White called him out directly, accusing him of exploiting black women through emotional manipulation. Charleston pulled up numbers that were hard to ignore, GoFundMe campaigns that raised over $400,000 before getting suspended, roughly $125,000 from PayPal donations, and close to $750,000 through speaking fees and direct gifts. That's an estimated $1.6 to $2 million total. And Charleston's punchline? Umar raised millions and still ain't got a haircut. Charleston didn't stop there. He accused Umar of pandering to women by posing as their biggest offender while secretly pocketing their money. And honestly, the receipts lined up. Umar has built his image as the ultimate protector of black women.
For children to know that the door was open and I was only away from the school for 30 days. For children to know the door was open and I was only away from the school for 30 days, I wonder when they broke in. I wonder when they broke in, because if the children already know the door was open.
Even blasting celebrities like Jonathan Majors for dating outside the race. But the moment women questioned him about missing funds, he flipped the script and insulted them. That hypocrisy didn't go unnoticed, and people started calling him out louder than ever before. What makes this fallout even crazy is that it's no longer just haters throwing shots. Even some of his longtime supporters are walking away. They've stopped donating, unfollowed him on social media, and demanded receipts he refuses to show. Some have even gone public, flat out labeling him a fraud. The biggest shock, though, came when one of his closest friends, Tariq Nasheed, broke ranks and spoke out against him. Tariq dropped the bomb during a sit-down with DJ Vlad. He admitted that at first, he truly believed in Umar's school project and even donated a large sum himself. That detail hit hard, because if even Umar's closest allies now siding with the FBI's narrative, then maybe this was never about education at all. Tariq explained that over time, he watched Umar chase clout, stir drama online, and dive into wild conspiracies instead of focusing on the mission. According to Tariq, he tried to reel Umar back in, warning him to stay disciplined and focus on the school. But Umar doubled down on the chaos, and that was a final straw. During the interview, you could literally see Tariq struggle with the reality. Someone he once respected was exposing himself as shady, distracted, and maybe even manipulative. And here's the real kicker. Tariq hinted Umar wasn't just sabotaging himself. He'd already been sitting on the FBI's radar for years without even realizing it. The first serious strike against Umar didn't even involve money. Back in 2018, the State Board of Psychology accused him of practicing without a license. That wasn't just embarrassing, it was damaging. Prosecutors now point to that case as proof of a long-running pattern of deception. As always, Umar denied it all, sticking to his playbook. He painted himself as a victim of a grand conspiracy, claiming he was being unfairly targeted because of his mission. But with federal documents, insider testimonies, and even former allies flipping sides, the narrative he built for years is starting to look less like resistance and more like fraud. Umar even cried that his Facebook and GoFundMe accounts were mysteriously suspended, spinning the story into rants meant to make his supporters pity him. And for a while, it worked. People felt sorry for him, defending every move he made. But the receipts painted a much darker picture. Videos all over the internet show Umar presenting himself as a licensed shrink, throwing around psychological terms to look credible and earn people's trust. That image became one of his sharpest tools for keeping donations rolling in. He even self-published a book, Psychoacademic Holocaust, The Special Education and ADHD Wars Against Black Boys, which he used as proof of his expertise. He sold it as a blueprint for fighting the system, but in reality, it doubled as a sales pitch to funnel more money into his pockets. The book argued that black children were being misdiagnosed to keep them trapped in the system, but then, just a few years later, Umar released a video claiming ADHD and mental illnesses weren't even real. That contradiction was a massive red flag. How can you brand yourself as an expert in psychology 1 minute, then completely dismiss the very field you claim to represent? To many, it exposed him as not only inconsistent but potentially running scams that harmed the same community he swore to protect. By the time federal investigators stepped in, they peeled back every layer of his empire: the frozen accounts, the shady fundraisers, the fake school, even the bogus psychology claims. What Umar thought were buried secrets are now lined up as evidence in a federal case. And here's the kicker: this time, the feds aren't backing down. Supporters are jumping ship. Receipts are piling higher by the day, and the empire he built is collapsing right in front of us. Unless a miracle drops out of nowhere, Umar won't be giving another Pan-African victory speech. He'll be walking into a courtroom, staring down the reality of a crumbling legacy that may never rise again. So, what do you think? Was Dr. Umar running one of the biggest hustles the community has seen in years, or was he set up as a pawn in a larger game? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button. Share this with your people, and make sure you subscribe, because what's coming next in our culture is about to get even wilder.